Good morning, students. This is M. Malam, PGT English from KB Bethia, and today we are going to study modal verbs. So, let us begin. What are modal verbs? So, modal verbs are auxiliary verbs that provide additional and specific meaning to the main verb of the sentence. They are generally 10 in numbers and they are can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, ought to, will, and would. Now, how do we use models? So, models are used between the subject and the main verb. For example, Mary could play the piano. So, first subject, then modal, and then verb. Now, modals do not accept conjugation. Conjugation means the different form of modals. They do not need other auxiliary verbs. They do not need any other helping verb. Now let us see the form. See, modals are generally called defective verbs. Why? Because there is no s in singular. There is no do, does in the question. There is no don't, doesn't in the negatives. For example, we can see he can sky. Though he is singular, sky remains the same. That is, sky remains in V1, first form of the verb. And if we write he can see sky or he can skies, then both are wrong. Would you like to come with me? If we add do you would like to come with me, then this sentence is wrong. They can't be serious. They don't can't be serious. So again, when we are making the negative, then by adding don't, we are creating an error. So let us move ahead. So from here we can find that modals have no s. They do not use do or does in the question, and there is no don't or doesn't in the negatives. Now, modal verbs do not have infinitives or ing forms. For example, infinitives we can say to infinitive. We can't write to can, to must. Neither we can add ing form. For example, can, canning, must, musting. So both of them are wrong. So we cannot add infinitives or ing forms. Modal verbs are followed by an infinitive without to, that is, bare infinitives. So, modal verbs can be followed by a bare infinitive. For example, she must study. Now, this sentence shows a strong obligation. That shows that it is our duty, it is our commitment. We should have gone the other way. This sentence shows recommendation. So the use of should here shows recommendation. He could play football in his youth. So this shows the ability that the youth possesses in his past. Now, modal verbs do not have all the tenses. We have to understand that modal verbs do not show the tense of the sentence. Modal verbs use other verbs to complete the tenses. Can is completed with be able to. Must is completed with have to. Let us understand this one. If we say they can play the piano, then if we want to write some other word instead of can, then we will have to write they will be able to play the piano in the future. They can play the piano. It shows the possibility, ability of an individual to play the piano. You must come early. So, must instead of must, we are going to write have to or had to. You had to come early yesterday. Now, what do models express? Models can have more than one meaning depending on the situation. So, on this basis, we have divided models into three categories. One is single concept model. Single concept means one meaning. Double concept models means they are having two meanings, and models in the past means they are used to express a situation in the past. Now see the categories. In single concept models, we have the models like will, might, should, ought to, had better. In double concept models, we have may, must, would, shall, could, can. And the models that are used in the past are would have, could have, might have, should have, may have, must have. Now let us go to the next slide. Now we are going to see the examples and the concepts which the single concept model shows. Now let us see the models. Will shows the concept of future. For example, Joe will travel to New York next week in the coming future. Might shows a small probability, weak probability. I might move to Canada someday. So this shows weak probability. Should shows recommendation, you should go to the doctor. Ought to shows formal recommendation, we ought to know about first aids. And had better shows warning, I had better study or I will fail in the test. Now let us go to double concept models. So we will begin with may. So may shows permission as well as good probability. Might shows less probability, weak probability. So when may shows permission, see the example, may I come in? With good probability, we may visit Mexico this summer. Must shows responsibility as well as assumption. Everyone must pay taxes. She didn't arrive, she must be sick. Would is used to show the past tense. When I was young, I would play soccer. Means something that was done in the past. And would also shows present unreal, that is not real. I would buy the car, but I cannot afford it. I would buy the car, but I can't afford it. So, in the present tense, the unreal thing is being shown here. Now, some more double concept models are here. For example, shall. This shows educated expression of a contractual obligation. Let us see the examples. Excuse me, I shall go now. So this shows educated expression. When we are showing offer, then see the example, shall I clean it? It is just an offer. Now contractual obligation, obligation, by obligation I mean that it is our duty, commitment. The company shall pay on January 1st. Now could shows unreal ability as well as past ability. I could go if I had time. She could play the piano, but she can't anymore. So she could play the piano shows the past ability of the individual. Now can shows present ability as well as permission. We can speak English, and with permission we can see the example, can I have a candy? So this is the list which shows the different models along with the concepts such as probability, possibility, ability, permission, obligation, advice, offer. So we have discussed about this just a few minutes ago. So you can go through this slide for your better understanding. Now there are some models that are used in the past. Now see, there there are models referred to actions that happened in the past. So when we are referring to the actions that have happened in the past, what we have to do? We have to add with modal have plus verb in the past participle, that is verb 3. It must have been a difficult decision. They should have invited her to their wedding. So we are saying that the models are being followed by have plus v3 to show that this action has already occurred in the past. Now there are some models with the past participle form and we are going to see their uses along with the examples. So must have plus past participle. Peter has arrived late. He must have been in a traffic jam. So this shows the logical conclusion on a past event. May might have plus past participle. Joe may might have taken the wrong train. So this shows deduction on a past event. Deduction is the noun form of deduce, by which we mean to come to a conclusion. So this means coming on a conclusion on a past event. Now, could have plus past participle. You could have played better. So this shows the possibility to do something that has gone unfulfilled. Then couldn't have plus past participle. Let us see the example. He couldn't have passed because you hadn't studied enough. So this shows certainty that something couldn't have happened. Now, would have plus past participle. I would have visited you, but I forgot your address. So this shows the desire to do something, but impossibility to do it for external causes. Now the next one is should ought to have plus past participle. You should ought to have warned me earlier. This shows that a person is lamenting on something that should have been done. Now the next one is shouldn't have plus past participle. He shouldn't have told them. So this shows critic on something that shouldn't have happened. Critic to criticize something or someone. Now the last one is needn't have plus past participle. You needn't have bought it. So the use is that it shows something that wasn't necessarily to do. Means something that was not necessary to do. Now let us go to the next slide. Modals like verbs. A few verbs which often serve as models too. So there are some verbs which acts as models. They need to be conjugated. They need to be used in different forms. For example, let us see. Model like to. I like to watch TV. This shows the concept of enjoyment. Want to. John wants to buy a car. Now want to became wants to. So this is conjugation. We are changing its form. So this shows the concept of desire. Need to. We really needed to talk to you. This shows necessity. Have to. Suzanne had to pay the rent. This shows obligation. Have got to. I have got to go now. This shows have to. The concept of have to means that is necessity. And the last one, look forward to. I look forward to seeing you again. So this shows the concept of future plan. So I hope you have enjoyed this video a lot.